Sundered Doctrine is less than a week away, and with its release a 48-hour contest mode with an exclusive emblem and a guaranteed dungeon exotic as a reward. But this will not be easy. You will be wanting all the best gear and setups the game has to offer. In this video I will share with you what you'll want to be using if you're playing Warlock. So first up, weaponry. I have already covered all sort of general weaponry you'll be needing in this video, so if you want to check that out I'll link it here and in the description. But I will have a full list of basic weapons you want on screen now too. But there are some weapons which Warlock can utilise much better, so Trace Rifle is a really good paired with Cenotaph Mask. And with this being a Dread dungeon, no doubt a few subjugators will be present, so if you see these you'll want to use Microcosm. This deals heavily increased damage against them since they are always classed as shielded, and as a Warlock you get the benefit of providing teammates with heavy ammo and yourself with special. Divinity can be a consideration, but only do this if the boss is particularly difficult to crit. And outside of boss DPS, a legendary trace swap alongside Cenotaph will keep the team's ammo economy topped up. The primary ammo trace rifle will have to wait and see how effective this is, but it is another thing to keep on standby just in case. Solar Warlock will no doubt be a popular choice, with their Well of Radiance or Song of Flame supers, but some solar aspects are critical to enabling certain weapon types. The support frame auto rifle, No Hesitation and Adamantite are fantastic, but are much better when used with Ember of Benevolence. This grants 400% increased ability regen whenever you heal allies for 6 seconds. Ember of Ashes also increases scorch stacks by 50%. This one is pretty much needed to make Dragon's Breath really shine, but with it, this rocket becomes a viable part of the damage rotation. I could see Dragon's Breath and a Solar Fusion Rifle alongside Particle Reconstruct being an easy and reliable DPS strap. Particle Reconstruction will also work great with Euphony. This weapon is not actually too far off being one of the better damage options on Warlock, and the linear buff plus this mod should hopefully be enough. I class this weapon as a Warlock exotic because of this pairing. Use prismatic with Needle Storm and Rattling Grenades, alongside an exotic class item with the traits Apotheosis and Star Eaters. This will quickly boost Euphony to max stacks following a super, and then it's just as simple as dumping reserves. And I've briefly mentioned a few potential builds, here they are in full. Going in blind I would advise starting on a survivability priority loadout, and nothing does this better than Speaker's Sight. Run this on pure solar rather than prismatic for a few things. Ember of Benevolence to cycle grenades and abilities much quicker, and heat risers. I do have a video here for a detailed breakdown on why you should use heat risers, but essentially it allows you to consume the healing grenade and still generate a turret. This means in Song of Flame Super you can generate a whole bunch of turrets, rather than being locked with a rather weak Phoenix grenade. The support frame auto rifles will be a nice pairing here, as these can repeatedly proc Benevolence. You can also use Dragon's Breath as mentioned before. Also look for strong utility weapons, such as the Chill Clip Tinasha's Mastery. Despite being healing focused, you can still get the great damage with this setup. Of course Solar is most known for Well of Radiance, though I'd only use this if it's absolutely needed in a boss encounter. You could try a Sanguine build to bump up damage, either use matching Solar weapons or swap to another subclass after popping Well, and use weapons which match that instead. The Well will still remain active for its full duration, so you don't really have to worry about that. Of course, Speaker's Sight could also be used here too. For me, Prismatic is the only other way to go, and I really like this subclass as it has so much to offer. I'd suggest going all out offensive with Prismatic, since Solar is the survivability option. I have 2 loadouts prepared, one for roam and another for boss DPS. The only difference between the two needs to be surge mods and special ammo weapons. I like to use both Hellion and Bleak Watcher, as both add considerable DPS, but if you do really want Feed the Void for Devour, swap out Hellion for it. The exotic class item here is Apotheosis and Star Eater Scales for DPS, and Hoyle with Star Eater Scales for roam. The idea is leading with a high damage super, and having a great weapon damage rotation propped up by the aspects. Facet of Command of Bleak Watcher will repeatedly reload your equipped weapon. Arcane Needle and Facet of Dawn give repeated reprocs of Radiant. Facet of Ruin increases shatter and ignition damage, which both aspects provide one of these. And Facet of Courage will make Nova Bomb deal additional damage so long as it is tagged by a status debuff first. As for what weapons you want to use with this, I'm currently running Tinasha's Baton and Chill Inhibitor for roam, with the Baton being swapped Acquire of 1 for boss damage. These can also be switched around to suit the encounter, so for example a Tormentor boss, I'd probably run something like Supremacy, No Hesitation and Microcosm. Finally, the Euphony build. This one is on Prismatic rather than Strand, because it just offers much more. and it's similar to the prismatic build just covered, but with a few key differences. Nova Bomb is swapped to Needle Storm, Hellion is swapped to Weaver's Call, and also ensure you have the Threading Grenade equipped. Oh, and you also want to use the artifact mod Horde Shuttle. This will be huge in building Euphony stacks. For an exotic class item, use Apotheosis with Star Eater Scales and following Supercast for a rapid Threading Grenades to build up Euphony stacks. I also use the Vanguard Heavy GL Wicked Sister here as it saves matches with Euphony and has the best available role of Envious Arsenal with Bait and Switch. You could even use Cascade Point instead if quicker damage is needed over total damage. So that's the lot for Warlock. I think having at least one of these on your fire team for the survivability and utility they provide is pretty much a must. Best of luck in your day one attempts, and be sure to also join my community Discord. I'll be dropping any new strats discovered here post season launch too. Thank you for watching.